Three. Oh no, a glitch
Three,
happened.
2, 1. He got glitch slapped?
I got
Glitch
glitch
slap.
slapped.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to turn 72 of A Worthy Opponent, a Hearthstone-based podcast from the Blizzard game, of course, Hearthstone. I am the ever-fumbling to speak Black Lace, and with me here this evening in the studio is Micmac.
Well met.
Well met. And also here is the ever finding things that cards say to you, Autumn's Bane.
One bot's junk is another bot's awesome upgrade.
You scared me for a minute because I thought we were going to be hearing crickets again.
I know what card that is because I used it in one of my mech decks one time. And it is junk. It is complete junk.
It's not the card, though.
Kind of. Partially.
It's junk bot. Baby.
Junk bot baby.
It's a 5 casting cost, 1/5 mech, and whenever a friendly mech dies, gain +2/+2.
+2/+2. Why is it so poor? Because it's a 5 casting cost 1/5?
And
that
it's
your
an
reasoning?
epic.
These epics, those GVG epics.
Well, there's two reasons I picked this. One is I was looking for a specific card, and I didn't find it in time, so I had to pick one, and that's the one I landed on. But let's pretend that's not the reason. Let's pretend the real reason is, did you notice something about this special ability?
He gains +2/+2. That's kind of like a reverse death rattle? No.
This is what I find interesting. There are a whole lot of this kind of mechanic
Oh, in
coming
Black
up at the
Rock
end of the week.
Mountain.
Ah, yes,
Yes.
there is.
Yes.
And I think this may be the first time we saw this mechanic, and they said, wow, we did that badly. Let's see if we could do it better.
Have you ever
Very
played Junkbot?
interesting.
No. Is that like when you go out in the junkyard in the city and you play with a ball and a bat and... Oh, no, wait. That's... Never mind. No, I haven't played this card, and I don't know if I ever will. Have you?
Yeah, I have. I made a aggressive warrior mech deck, which never fared too well. This is months ago now, kind of when it first came out, when GVG first came out. And he comes out, and his battle cry, his verbal battle cry is, I have junk. So he's sitting out there.
Oh,
every one of
no.
my opponents, every one of them, hovers over it. And they're like, what is this card? What does this thing do? Why? Why is this card in this guy's deck?
Because no one's ever seen it in play before.
No.
So he
That's
didn't do any good to you because you never had a mech in play, or because it died before your other mechs did?
It's so hard to get him out there and have mechs out. Warrior mech is really not all that great. So when I would play him, there's maybe one or two other mechs out there, and they would just kill this guy first. Or a priest would just confiscate it and take it for their mech.
Yeah, 5 casting costs is a lot for a 1/5.
It is a lot
in
for
the
a
hopes
1/5.
that it might get bigger.
And yeah, I mean, it's going to get bigger in hopes that your own minions die. There's something backwards, almost warlike about that.
Junkbot is junk.
Well, you know, it is an epic.
Therefore,
But it-
and GVG epic, so it's junk.
GVG epic equal junk.
With a few minor.
Yeah.
Right,
with
yeah,
a
there
few
are exceptions. But overall, I mean,
Well,
come
since
on.
we're talking about warriors, and before we get into the main meat of the show tonight, War Song Commander is a warrior card, Micmac.
That's right. I like the War Song Commander a lot, but it's been buggy for quite some time now. It's a 2/3 for 3 mana, and when it comes into play, its ability is to allow other minions with 3 or less attack to have charge. Well, the bug was that any minion that's summoned from that minion that is summoned, like for example, a Murloc that's a 2/1 that summons a 1/1, that 1/1 doesn't have charge. However, today there was a stream of the new Black Mountain cards, and it hasn't been reported by Blizzard, but people are talking on Reddit about how the Warsong Commander is now fixed, which makes me very happy because I'm really hoping that Warrior can be aggressive and not just control and be a viable deck, because Warrior's my favorite class. I love it.
Well,
Still, huh?
has this been broken since they nerfed it back in beta when it used to let anything charge?
I think it was broken around the time of GVG, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong though, but I think it definitely has been nerfed for some time, and people have been complaining about it too. But Blizzard has a lot on their plate, and this was not something that I think they wanted to look at.
Right. So it's the 2 casting cost Murloc Tidecaller. If you called it out afterwards, it would do its battle crying of a 1/1 Murloc Scout. It would get the charge, but the 1/1 Murloc Scout would not. So now they're both going to have it, correct?
Yep, that's what people are
Alright.
reporting.
Cool. Very cool. Nice fix. Nice. Instead of a nerf, an actual fix. Nice.
I was just going to say that. I didn't see any Hunter nerfs pre-expansion week.
But something I also noticed was
Just wait
that
because they're not out yet.
so Zaraya, one of the managers of the Hearthstone community, she was reportedly saying that there will not be any balances/changes to cards at the expansion, and the patch for the expansion in Blackrock Mountain will come out sometime this week, and they'll list the notes and everything else attached to it. But it doesn't look like any current cards are changing.
Cool.
Right, because before Nax, a whole bunch of stuff got messed with.
Right. Because, well, there were cards in Nax that would mess with the cards.
They changed the way traps work even.
Mm-hmm. And secrets.
Traps. I meant
Secrets.
secrets. Secrets,
Yeah.
Yep.
traps.
Yep.
When you're a hunter, all secrets are traps. So
So that's pretty interesting.
when you're married, all
Um,
secrets are traps too.
That's right.
True.
But I
Mhm.
haven't found that out yet because I don't have any secrets.
Newlywed.
Yeah. Baby. Okay, so on the note of the new expansion, they are having a new fireside chat coming out. Well, they're not having the fireside chats. They're talking about people who are going to have fireside chats. I don't know if you all remember this, but a while back when they were doing Nax, they said, we'll give you all this fun stuff, swag bag type stuff.
It was a fireside chat promotion.
Yes, that's it. And they were giving, fun stuff for it. Well, they're doing this with the Black Rock Mountain expansion. Basically, this is going to be released this Thursday, the 2nd of April. Black Rock Mountain is coming out. Yay! You can start. And what they're asking people to do who want to do the fireside gatherings is basically they have to sign up. And if your gathering is selected, you receive a support pack stuffed with Hearthstone loot for attendees. You host the Black Rock Mountain launch party between April 10th and May 10th after I can't say it today. Black Rock Mountain is released. And they even say you can host a party every week as each wing unlocks. That was a question some people had. Yes, the wings are going to be unlocking every week, just like they did with Nax. It's not just a one bundle thing on the 2nd. We have to wait every week like we did before. Gives you time to save your gold. If you've been thinking about hosting a fireside gathering but haven't gotten around to it, time is now. Basically, if the gathering is chosen, they'll provide materials and suggested activities to make the launch party a success. Things to keep in mind: you have to be 18 or older. Your Black Rock Mountain launch party has to be in the public. You can't do it in your house. If it's going to be a fireside gathering, it's got to be in a place like a cafe, restaurant, bar, meeting hall, that kind of thing. No private residences. And you need to schedule it at firesidegatherings.com. Committing to host more than one event will increase your chances of being selected. So if you do choose to do a wing a week, you've got a better chance of being selected. And they're just asking people to start right away because the launch is coming. And again, it's going to be between April 10th and May 10th. And that's the fireside news.
So you can keep warm in the spring with this endless winter that we have sitting by the hearth.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So let's talk about, well, before we even go onto the cards, the most exciting part of the evening, Micmac, we're going to actually jump right ahead to your playing with people's decks again.
Oh, it's been a while since I played with someone's deck.
Yes, and this one is actually not a Black Rock Mountain card deck, but a Black Rock Mountain themed deck.
That's right. So this deck is from Archives. It's called By Fire Be Purged. Hey gang, I finally have made a deliciously hot deck for Micmac to play with. I was inspired by the impending release of Black Rock Mountain to create a deck using almost all fire, flame, explosive, bomb cards. The only concession I made was to card draw with 1 Arcane Intellect and 2 Acolytes of Pain. The Acolytes synergize especially well with all the bombs and pings flying around. Of note, you must play this deck with the pre-ordered card back for maximum troll power, which I did. It has no taunts or healing, other than Alex Straza that is, because fire mages don't roll like that. You come in like a boss, you go out like a boss. Some matches are straight up losses, and other ones are wins. Burn! Let's take a look at the deck that Archive set in. So again, if I don't say a number afterwards, I mean that there's 2. Flame Cannon, 1 Doomsayer, 1 Explosive Sheep, 2 Matter Bomber, 2 Wild Pyromancer, Arcane Intellect, 2 Acolyte of Pain, Big Game Hunter, 2 Demolisher, 2 Suit Spewer, 2 Fireball, 2 Goblin Blast Mage, 2 Bomb Lobber, 1 Matter Bomber, 2 Flame Strike, 1
Bomb
Baron
lobbers.
Bomb, yeah, I like that card a lot.
A bomb blobber.
Did I say Bomb Blobber?
I'm not sure.
It's like a sledge belcher that just tosses out bombs. So let's see, 2 Flame Strike, 1 Baron Geddon, Dr. Boom, Flame Leviathan, Ragnarus the Firelord, and Alex Straza. So, how did I do? Well, I went 3-2 overall. I didn't think this was that much of a troll deck because it was fairly decent and it had a lot of removal in it. The games I lost, I just didn't draw into my removal early enough. I won against a Paladin Hobgoblin deck. That was my first game. Game 2 was a loss versus a Zulok Warlock. That Nerubian Egg, I just couldn't do anything about it. I was able to clear the board early on, but my opponent had a Nerubian Egg out, and I cleared the board. I popped the 4/4 Nerubian, and I couldn't handle it. So I lost that game. Then I lost to a Druid, and his Pilot of Sky Golem, which is the 6 mana 6/4, popped out a 5/6 Pit Lord. It's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, that's some serious value there. And then my last 2 games were win. I won against the Paladin and won against the Hunter pretty convincingly. The MVP of this deck, in my opinion, was Explosive Sheep.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely, because early on he can take care of aggression. You pop him out there, it's a bunch of aggro decks, and boop, there he goes, like that Hobgoblin deck. He destroyed those minions early on.
So did you like it?
Yeah, I really did. I mean, it definitely is, it's hit or miss depending on your hand and everything. And I didn't, the more you play a deck, the more you know how to mulligan for it, like in the first couple of cards. So that was kind of challenging for me too, because I'm like, oh man, I got a lot of goblins here throwing out bombs. Do I really want this early in the game? But yes, I did. But yeah, it was a fun deck, and thanks to Archive sending it in. It got me ready to go for Black Rock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure.
You've just become Dwarven.
And Scottish.
And Scottish. Well, that's what the words sound like. I have a play of the week. Speaking about Dr. Boom,
Oh, do tell.
I do. I realized I was neglecting my poor shaman. So I dusted him off, and no, I don't have a Dr. Boom, but I happen to have, right after Dr. Boom was played, I looked in my hand and noticed that I had not one, but two Earth Shocks. You know what an Earth Shock is?
Sure do. Deals 1 damage, silences a minion. Well, silence first.
Silence a minion, then deal 1 damage to it. So with 2 mana, and I didn't lock up any of my crystals. I basically silenced both of his bombs. I really thought I heard a lot of swearing. I did. And it didn't take me very long. I mean, I didn't even, that was it. And Dr. Boom was dead like the next round because my shaman was just very happy to be out of the closet.
Out of the closet.
Yes, the guy was boxed away.
It's a
But
very
anyway,
progressive
yes.
world.
It is. But it was a really good feeling to, because those things just are nasty. They really are. Those bombs are nasty. And to just silence the two of them in one turn is like, ha ha ha.
I know, yeah, that is pretty nice.
I would like to see Mass Dispel get taken away from the priest and given to everyone.
The one neutral spell in the game, Mass Dispel.
I really, because if they did that, I would put 2 in every deck because of Dr. Boom. Mass Dispel silences all enemy minions. It's the only card in the game that does that. And it's at the point where if Dr. Boom comes out, I know I've lost. I have not once won a game where my opponent played Dr. Boom. Not even close.
He's so powerful.
Ridiculous.
He is. He really is. And it's the only time I think I've ever actually beaten him. And
But
it
it
was
doesn't-
just, I mean, I'm sorry. It's pure luck that I had both of those and I hadn't used them yet.
And it doesn't look
Yeah.
like he's getting nerfed anytime soon either.
And this is to us on steroids what we used to think Ragnaros was like. Remember when you were new and somebody played a Ragnaros against you, like, oh my god, how do I win against that? And of
It's
course,
still kind of no. Ragnaros still
He-
has his way, and I
he
still
is
had a
still
priest
pretty-
make a copy of it this week, and then I had another priest actually steal it this week, and then I kicked a priest's ass, and I was very happy.
but he doesn't instill the terror that Dr. Boom does.
True. Now I got to tell you, this random, not number generator, but the randomization of who you're playing. I actually came up against a priest, and it was literally the epitome of the deck that I hate, where he brings out the 5/5 and then he doubles it and all this stuff. But each time he did it, I was able to undo what he did. Either sent it back to his hand, so all the spells that he used were no. I'm sorry, it was my shaman. I was able to silence it. I was able to hex it. I was able to zap it down fast enough that I was able to kill it. Did this over and over again, and he had me down to 8 mana, and I wound up, or 8 life. I wound up bringing, yes, my vitality totem out.
Oh,
And I had 8 mana. And I ended the game. I had 20 mana and he was dead. But then I did play again. And now, mind you, that game took about 20 minutes. He came up again. Same player. I looked at it and I'm like, I'm going to give you a gimme because I don't want to go through this again. Now, granted, he may have seen me and may have been ready to hit the concede button. I just couldn't go through it again. I knew what his deck was like. I knew what it was going to do. I didn't know if I'd have the same luck I did the last time, and it already took 20 minutes. I don't want to take 40 minutes to play 2 games. I'm sorry. So I conceded right away as soon as I saw his name again. But literally, I've had that happen a lot where you're playing somebody and then you hit to play again and you get the same person.
happened to me just a few times, but
Yeah, but it
it
shouldn't. I mean, I've never met Micmac been playing at the same time you have, and gotten you as an opponent. I've never, Autumn's Bane and I are playing these games constantly at the same time. We have never come up against each other. So
Well,
to have
the three of
same,
us may have different MMR. We may be all rated differently, so we may not end
true.
up playing each other.
True. Maybe. Still, it seems odd that you get the same person several times in a row.
I played somebody on my friends list once. I think it was actually Deathbone who I played.
Yes, it was. We discussed it on the show.
Many
Right.
moons ago.
But what we're going to discuss now on the show is we're going to start talking cards.
Yes, Black Rock Mountain.
It is the Blackrock time.
So,
And-
first impressions?
Go ahead,
Dragons.
Black Lace.
Lots of dragons. I like dragons. Many dragons. Almost too many dragons. Too many high-cost dragons. Too many high-cost cards. That's my impression. I do like the hero power they show, though. Die Insect. The hero power, deal 8 damage to a random enemy. For 2 mana. Ow.
Well, that's because you get turned into Ragnaros.
Yes. That's awesome. But no, there are a lot of really high-cost cards out there. So that's my impression. I want to see how this plays out.
It's mostly the legendaries that are high
I think
cost.
I
The
kinda have a
class
favorite, though.
cards aren't.
We almost have a Nerubian egg. I think the dragon egg is adorable. For every time this minion takes damage, you summon a 2/1 whelp. It's a 1 casting cost 0/2 card. That might be one of my favorites because first of all, I'd love to see what that little 2/1 whelp looks like. But if you just do 1 damage to it, you get a whelp. And if you're playing a priest, if you're playing a priest, you can heal the card. And then you can hit it again and get another 2/1 whelp. So Knife Juggler, or as an opponent, or what is that card that when you call him out, every time you cast a creature, he deals 1 point of damage? The little fire guy. You know what I'm talking about.
The Pyromancer? That's when
Yes.
you cast a spell.
Yeah, when you cast a spell. So you have him out, and you put your egg out, and you cast your Pyromancer, and he makes a little whelp. Oh, but then he'll kill the whelps off. Never mind, I didn't say that. Anyway, I just think this could be a really fun card. So I jumped to the third card in the chain that we were going to talk about. But what do you guys think of this card?
I think it makes a really mean omelet. Dragon
Eat
egg.
dragon eggs?
Lots of protein. Makes it big and strong. Just like the
I
Grim
guess
Patrons.
it'd be really spicy too.
Yes,
really
very,
hot.
very spicy.
Yeah.
Ultra mega hot sauce.
Autumn's Bane.
I think it's one of the few fair and balanced cards. It's not too powerful, it's not too weak, it's fun, and I'd like to see more cards like this. Whereas most of the cards either seem to be just or
Yeah.
way over the top, far too powerful.
It's a rare. It's not epic. It's not common. It's a rare. 1 casting cost.
I mean, I like it. I think it's fair. I think it's well valued for its cost. I think it's got some playability. I think we'll see a lot of them, and
But
it seems fun. So
I'm
it's
sorry.
a good representation of what a new card should be.
I totally jumped ship and did not do what you guys asked me to do. I simply, I told you what I thought and then leapt into the cards. What do you guys think of the cards as overall?
So I look at this, and I'm comparing it to what I thought about GVG. Now, when GVG first came out and we saw the cards, I really wasn't that impressed by them. There were some that I was like completely impressed by, but it didn't strike me as like, okay, these cards don't seem that powerful. I was more or less, okay, these cards seem okay, and some seem a little weak. But overall, these cards seem super powerful. And I'm thinking, if I'm thinking this before it actually comes out and before we see decks being created, I feel like this is going to be ultra mega super powerful.
Yeah, and it's another case of a lot of these cards are not meant to really enhance an existing deck. It's a matter of, okay, wipe clean everything you used to play with and start all over with all new cards. And that happens with expansions, and I guess to some degree you want it to. But this is just like a supplemental expansion because it's an adventure. It's not meant to be a GVG level expansion, but I can see all of the legendaries that people have been playing for a year suddenly coming out to make room for these, because there's a lot of, as Blacklay said, high casting cost minions in here, and the only way they're going to get play is if you yank out the others, because how many can you really have in one deck? I mean, the mechanics, there are several mechanics that have a repeating theme, and one of them is holding dragons in your hand. So, like, out goes Ragnaros and Sylvanas and Leroy Jenkins and all these others, and people are going to start stockpiling Alex and Ysera and all the dragons just to make use of the dragon mechanic. And I'm on the fence about how I feel about that.
I'm concerned actually about the casual and the new players. The players who haven't been playing very long or aren't going to be investing, either don't have the gold yet or the money yet, or just learning and they are not quite ready to start taking on wings and defeating bosses and such to get these cards. A lot of the new players are having a hard time as it is playing experienced players. I mean, even with the the way it puts you up against people that have won and lost as many as you have, new players are still struggling with that. And I think that when they start coming across people who have decks, these kinds of decks, there's going to be a lot of I don't know. I can't explain what I'm trying to say. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say here?
Completely. You think it might deter new players from wanting to play the game for long periods of time?
These are mega powerful. You're either going to buy it with real money or you need a lot of gold to do it. And the newer starters are going to be coming up against people who have these cards in their decks, and there's no retaliation.
True. Even a fairly new player playing another fairly new player, one of them just bought all of Nax and manages to make his way through in a few days. The person who doesn't have it yet, because
Nax or BlackRock?
BlackRock. So now the person who's saving his allowance for it or saving up the gold or however it is, he just hasn't done it yet. He is going to get his ass kicked over and over and over again. Because as much as we say this is not a pay-to-win game, and I agree, it's not. It's like money can't buy happiness. It could sure rent it for a while.
Yeah. Unless you've been playing from the beginning for a long time and you've had the time to accumulate the gold or whatever.
But your point is this is going to intimidate new people, and
absolutely.
It certainly is. If they weren't intimidated already, they're going to be now.
Well, dragons are pretty imposing, but I think that if people that are new start seeing these dragons come out, it will force them to play aggressive decks that they can cheaply. I mean, new players play aggressive decks anyhow because most of the cards are pretty cheap, like commons and rares that they can easily craft. But I think this will force them to do so even more, because a lot of these dragons, I mean, a lot of these cards are 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, so it takes quite some time to get these cards out there, and I think we'll see a lot of control decks with these new cards being made. And the best way to counter control is with a can't say it's the best way to counter it, but aggro can certainly ruin a control deck's day in just a matter of 4 or 5 turns sometimes.
Well, now I play devil's advocate and I tell you the other side. You could be playing for a year and never get your hands on a Ragnaros or a Leroy or a Ysera or a Sylvanas. But with these, you pay the money, you'll get the cards.
Or you pay the gold.
So if you're a new player and you happen to have the $30 or whatever it is, $25, or the gold, these are legendaries that if you just play through, you'll get them. It's not like you have to wait for them to pop open in a pack.
Oh, you still have to beat the wing.
True. But it's not like I have to wait to open a Dr. Boom that's never going to come, or save 1,600 dust to craft it. These are legendaries that even new players can get their hands on if they just make it through. And if you recall, Nax was no hard feat to get through most of the challenges.
That's a good point.
They had to nerf the warrior. It was the warrior or the paladin, I forget which. One of them was just obscenely broken with the RNG, and they had to fix it. And I said in the last show that I had to wait for the nerf. As I recall, I did it before the nerf, but I was glad they nerfed it. So if it's balanced this time, then even new people will be able to get it. So on the one hand, when I said new players will be intimidated, that's true, especially if they don't have the skill to get through the wings. But if they do have the skill to at least make it through the trials of the dungeon, which is the main part of this. I mean, they're selling this for the adventure, not necessarily for the cards. The cards are supposed to be the reward. If you make it through and you're rewarded with these nice cards, then you too can have legendaries no matter how few card packs you buy.
So my question to the both of you are, do you think this, as far as like the card value and the power of a card and how successful a card will be in the decks that we'll be seeing, compare this to Naxxramas, okay? The Naxxramas legendaries and the rares and the commons. Which cards do you think have a better, or which adventure do you think was better for the cards? Personally, I think Naxxramas, I think the cards were better overall than what we're seeing here, but this is just me to begin with. I think these cards are more fun looking, especially Major Domo executives. I think that
Have
guy
you
looks
seen
awesome.
these legendaries and what they do?
Yeah, I have.
They're pretty
but
wicked.
I know, it's just they're so big. It takes a while for them to
Yeah,
come
but
out.
Kel'Thuzad and Baron Rivendare are big too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Lotheb is just awesome. I have
that's a
Yeah,
five
but
casting
Lotheb,
cost, isn't it?
Lotheb was fairly cheap. But look at what Emperor Thracian does. Okay,
I know.
6 casting cost, and at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. That's got to be a cumulative effect because it's not a battle cry. That means every turn, the cards in your hand get cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's only 6 casting costs. So let's say you get Neferi and a Major Domo in your hand. You know, eventually they're going to be like a 5 casting cost. So, wow.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
about Chromagus? Chromagus is an 8 casting cost, 6/8. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand.
That's amazing.
That doubles
is,
your
no.
deck.
It's
It
completely
doubles
amazing.
your deck size. See, you
Yep.
can double. It's just like Dragon Viagra.
The one legendary that you would think would be really awesome, to me isn't, and that is Rend Blackhand. Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, destroy a legendary minion. To me, that's too specific. Too specific for the casting cost.
Yeah, the
One,
battle cry.
I have to be holding a dragon when I cast him.
and your
2,
opponent.
my opponent has to have a legendary out there.
Yeah.
So, to me, he's the meh one of the group. But the rest are just phenomenal.
Nefarian is fun too. His battle cries add 2 random spells to your hand from your opponent's class.
No,
And
I mean,
just a little background on Nefarian, since Blacklace brought him up. When you fight Nefarian in the raid in Blackwing Lair, he takes control of. He does a little mind controlling at the beginning, but then they do these things called class calls, where it makes the classes cast certain spells, and you have no control over it. Others, like the Hunter, they just break your bow, but like the I think it makes the mage start polymorphing people. It makes monks start rolling around. So that whole theme of making different players do different things, it is kind of emulated here with the add spells to your hand, but it's your opponent's class. I think that's a fun mechanic. We'll see how it pans out. Micmac, you started to say something. I cut you off.
yeah, I mean, I think these legendaries look really awesome and really cool, like the Farian and Emperor Thorician. I hope I said his name right. But I don't know, just maybe the commons. I don't know what it is. I think that pound for pound, I think Naxxramas had better cards that we'll see for the long haul. But I'm definitely looking forward to this expansion. I'm ready to play as of yesterday, just like I think a lot of other people are. But yeah, let's just hurry up and move some time forward so we can play this expansion, this adventure.
Yeah,
rather.
let's jump into it. I did do the third one on the neutral, common, and rare cards. There are 8 of them. Autumnsbane, why don't you do the first one in the series here?
Okay, Blackwing Corruptor is a 5 casting cost, 5/4 a minion. Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage. So there's the first from that theme, holding dragons. I guess a 5/4 for 5 casting cost doesn't make it too terrible. But if you're not holding dragon, then your battle cry is wasted. So, you know how we had mech decks? Now we're just going to see dragon decks.
Mm-hmm.
And we had mentioned earlier on in a previous turn that, we didn't have enough tribes in use, but then we started seeing pirates showing up. Then we saw mechs. Now this is the age of the dragon, and everybody's going to be playing dragons, if for nothing else, to make the commons worthwhile.
Yeah,
It'll
I think
also tell your opponent something, though. If the battle cry goes off, your opponent knows you got a dragon in your hand.
That is
And
true.
they can also prepare themselves now for that dragon to come out. They can hold cards waiting for
Absolutely.
it and stuff
good point.
like that.
Very good point.
So they're
Having the
holding
foresight.
all of their direct creature removal for
Mhm.
that dragon to show up,
Yep.
which is why you're holding 4.
4 dragons, right.
This card, the Blackwing Corruptor, is a neutral fire elemental, but with a bit of a kicker, meaning that you have to have the dragon in your hand. But the fire elemental, for the shaman, 6 mana, it's a 6/5 that deals 3 damage as battle cry. This will deal 3 damage, but there's the word "but" in there. You have to have a dragon in your hand. Yeah, I don't think it's too bad. It's
Are you saying
it's not too
dragons
bad.
have big butts?
And I cannot lie. You other
Not
brothers can't
going
deny.
Not going there.
Micmac, take the next one.
Okay, Blackwing Technician. It's a 3 mana, 2/4 battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1/+1. Again, if you're holding a dragon. I think this is a card that we will see in dragon decks only, and it's not too bad. You figure it comes out. It's a 3/5. Otherwise, it's a 2/4, which isn't terrible, but it's not too bad. But it's definitely better in constructed than it is in arena, in my opinion.
Now, here's a question.
Mhm.
What if you have 3 dragons in your hand? Is it +3/+3? I don't think so.
No, that'd
think
be
it's-
amazing if it
Wouldn't
was.
it? That would make that card really fun. But yeah, if you're holding a dragon. So it's not going to pump up because of the amounts of dragons in your hands.
I think this technician is late to the game. She was supposed to be in the last expansion.
Because she's a little goblin.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
cute.
probably.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
okay.
bad. It's
She's
not
holding a
bad
bomb.
for a common. Not bad at all for a common.
Yeah, and
Again.
it's 2/4. It's not bad. And if
You
it
know
comes
how-
out as a 3/5.
When we reviewed all the mech decks, we kept saying over and over again, if you're playing mechs, if you're playing mechs. Well, I guess we'll be saying that with the dragons a lot. If you're playing dragons. Or now,
You
if
will
you're
be playing
holding
dragons.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this card can make a lot of tempo. On turn 3, you have a 3/5, or even on you coin out this on turn 2, and you have a 3/5. It's like hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. No shield though. I already did the dragon egg. The 0/2. It's 1 casting cost, and when it takes damage, to summon a 2/1 whelp. So that we discussed, and I just think it's too cute.
So you pop them twice, and the response is, whelp, whelp.
Wow.
Whelp. Okay, that would put the Dragonkin Sorcerer back in Micmac's hands.
I just did the technician.
Oh, you did.
You want to go?
Okay. I was playing. No, I did the dragon egg. You can.
Dragonkin Sorcerer. So this is funny because in World of Warcraft, whenever you moused over anything even remotely dragon looking, at least in vanilla, I'm not sure how it's going now, it would always say Dragonkin. It could be a full-fledged dragon. It would say Dragonkin. It always said Dragonkin. But in Hearthstone, it says dragon. But this is a Dragonkin Sorcerer. Forecasting cost 3/5 minion. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain +1/+1.
Oh my god, priest deck. Oh, this is going to be obscene.
Oh,
Now, I want you to pay close attention to the wording. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain +1/+1. Something about the wording leads me to believe you have to do it yourself.
Right.
Yep.
That's the
So-
kind of thing that a priest will make it, give it a +2. So now it's a 4/7. And then we're going to add the health to the equal of the other thing. So it's a 4/7, which becomes a 7/7. But actually, no, now it's an 8/8.
Yeah, this could be a
I see where this
runaway,
is going.
a runaway card in a priest or paladin deck. All of those decks that are known for enhancing your characters, druids too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Will be strong with this card.
And it's
Also,
dragon.
it's not hero power, so you can't just heal it with your priest healing power.
Right.
And,
It's got to be a spell.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
it's not a bad card. It's pretty good. It's gonna get really strong. It may not get strong quickly, but over time, if it's left on the table, it will grow like a chia pet.
Yeah, 5 health. It's not easy to kill from the beginning, and then it just keeps getting +1. I mean, you still got the big game hunters and things like that out there. No, wait, that's attack, not toughness, right?
Yeah, but again, if you make its power and toughness the same and start pumping that, then your big game hunter will work on it, and so will like some
Eventually,
of the pre spells. It's a 3 right now, so the 3 or less will hit it. The 5 or more will hit it eventually too. If you're a priest coming up against this card, I don't
Yeah.
sound like I've been playing a priest a lot, have I? Do I?
No,
Give things
not
away.
much.
Okay. Shh.
Again, what makes this card, if you don't have a lot of spells in your deck that are going to target this, then this could be a wasted ability. It's one of those cards that may look really great, and then in play you find out it's not as great as you thought it was. We saw a lot of those with GVG, like, oh, this is going to be awesome, and it was terrible. Like Junkbot.
I have junk.
There's a lot of synergy that can be used with this card. You've got that minion that gives you a +1. Oh, that wouldn't work.
That's not a spell. See?
That's right.
It doesn't work
That's
with
an
hero
ability.
powers. It doesn't work with other minions' battle cries.
Hmm.
There specifically
True,
need
true.
to be spells, and it says target, so not even AoE stuff. A whirlwind's not going to do anything to it.
Yeah, but you can put if it's in a dragon mech deck, you can always put a those things that come out, the 1 card casting cost cards. Come on, guys, the brain has shut down
spare
for
parts.
the evening. Spare parts.
There
You
we
put
go.
Spare parts on this. Every
That's
time you
true.
put a spare part on this baby, it pumps it up even more.
Yeah, so the more the expansions roll out, the harder it's going to be to incorporate. I mean, if you want to put a lot of dragons, but you want to put a lot of mechs because you want a dragon mech deck, it's going to get harder and harder because you still have to keep those, classic vanilla cards in there to keep your class going strong. It's going to get harder and harder to choose which card to throw out to make room for the new ones.
Yeah. And again, they only give us, 10 spots? We need more decks.
9.
9. Yeah, we need more. We need more. Pick
Big Mac,
the
you
next
have any
one.
other words on this card?
No, I think we can move on to the next one. It's a 6 mana. Oh, how do you pronounce that? Draconid?
Draconid.
Draconid Crusher.
Draconid.
That
It's
sounds right to me.
Draconid. Okay, Draconid Crusher. Dragon. 6 mana, 6 attack, 6 health. Battle Cry. If your opponent has 15 or less health, gain +3/+3. Really cool card. Love the idea of that. And I'm surprised that this card is a common because it seems so powerful for what it does. It should be like a rare or, well, I can't say it's an epic, but I like it a lot. I think it can give you the last bit of boost that you need to kill some decks. I think it's pretty cool against, like, say, a Handlock deck, which lowers its health, over time, so it can toss out Molten Giants by life tapping and, so on and so forth. I think this is a really cool card against that because it's
Yeah, because it's 9/9 instead of an 8/8, right?
right. Now it becomes vulnerable to the big game hunter, which kills a minion with 7 attack or more. But this is just another minion that's all just massive that your opponent has to deal with. And there's only 1 or 2 big game hunters in the deck. Probably 2 big game hunters in the deck once these cards are released.
This is a seldom used warrior card that has a similar theme. That, like, it does a certain amount of damage depending on how much life the opponent has. No?
Yes, it is. Oh, geez, what's that card? Not Commanding Shout. Mortal Strike. Mortal
Yep.
Strike. It's a 4 mana and its spell deals 4 damage. Mind you, Fireball is a a 4-mana spell that deals 6 damage. And the kicker is it deals 6 damage if you have 12 health or less. What a terrible rare card that is.
Mm-hmm. But this reminds me of that, but
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, much
Yeah,
better.
this is a pretty decent card. It really is. And it's an end game card because it's 6 mana to cast it anyway, so it's not going to happen right away. You're not going to be casting it in the first couple of rounds, so obviously your opponent is going to have more than 15 health at that time. So it stays in your hand
Less.
and you just
You
wait.
mean less than...
No, at the beginning of the
Oh,
game,
I see,
before
yeah.
you can cast it, before you can cast this card, you know, it's not going to happen first 3, 4, 5 rounds because your opponent's going to have more health and you're not going to need it yet. But once you get to the point where you have enough mana to cast it, there's a good chance that your opponent is going to be below 15.
So shouldn't this
true.
really be a demon, though, instead of a dragon?
Why is that?
It's 666.
Oh.
Oh,
You have a keen eye.
Grim Patron. Grim Patron. I love that part of BlackRock. That's the bar.
Grim Guzzler.
Yes, the Grim Guzzler. 5 casting cost, 3/3 creature. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon another Grim Patron. Ow.
Awesome.
Yes, this is a good card. It's a rare. I think it's an awesome card. I agree with you. Again, you can hurt it yourself. Do one little ping to it, and boom, here comes another one. That's almost a Trogzor.
Yes, it's very much like the Trogs in
Yep.
that respect.
Yep.
And it's
Nice.
it's expensive. It's 5 casting costs for a 3/3.
But
And it's got to survive the damage. So you get that 3/3 out for 5, and then somebody deadly shots it, then you just blew
Yeah.
5 mana.
we want to have cards in your deck that can heal this guy. We have cards that can heal each other, so that would be the kind of thing you want to do. Or you're going to want to put a card out. You want to be able to pump him up somehow. Use some cards to make him a little bit more powerful. So that's, again, using even more mana. So he is kind of a high mana cost, but it's still an awesome card.
Yeah, I guess another reason to hate priests.
Or begin to hate warriors because I think Blizzard made a mistake. This card should have a red border around it because it belongs in an aggro warrior deck. Now, just picture this now, okay? Warsong Commander comes out and it's just sitting there, you know, minding its own business. Nothing much is going on. Oh, then next turn, Grim Patron comes out. Well, guess what? Now he's got charge. Then you use a Whirlwind, make another Grim Patron. Okay, now the two of them have charge. Oh, but how about this? Then you Death Spite that's sitting there with 1 durability left, attacks the face of your opponent. And then since there's 2 Grim Patrons out, you'll make 2 more Grim Patrons because the
Yeah.
spawn will make 1.
My brain was going there before you started
Mhm.
spouting off all of those things. That's all a great reason
That's
to
an
put in a
awesome,
warrior
awesome
deck.
synergy.
Yeah.
Yes. Because,
Really-
I mean, if you can just charge into something else, hit it, take damage, and pop a new one out, and it's now got charge too.
Yes, but it's exponential. Whenever
Yeah.
this minion survives damage, summon another Grim Patron.
And
Does
then
the
it'll
other-
have charge
Is the other
too.
Grim Patron exactly like this? So now your Death Spite goes off with 3 of these out there. Suddenly you end up with 6.
You're going to have a whole side full of patrons. Well, you know, it's a bar. You're going to have a lot of patrons in a bar.
You can make
I
a
mean,
lot of
they
money.
say Grim Patron. It doesn't say like summon another. It says summon another Grim Patron.
Uh-huh.
It's the exact same card, so
Yep,
it has to have
same
the exact
abilities.
same ability.
This
It
could,
can get so
yeah.
out of control.
Yes.
and you think that the hounds were bad.
Don't get me started.
Look out. I'll start him on a hunter rampage.
Yeah, with the Warsong Commander, that's definitely.
Oh yeah. What a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Autumn's Bane? Or I'm getting all mixed up all over the place, aren't I? Who does the Hungry Dragon?
I
you
think
you do,
Yeah,
because
you.
you go after.
No,
Micmac.
I just did the Grim Patron.
I guess it's Autumn's
the
Bane.
Grim Patron was yours.
Yes.
Then I guess the Hungry Dragon is mine. 4 casting cost, 5 attack, 6 health. Battle Cry. Summon a random 1-cost minion for your opponent. Guess who will never use this card?
Yeah. 1 cost minion.
I mean, it's a 4 casting cost dragon, so for all the dragon related cards, it might be worth having just to hold. But maybe in a warrior deck where you know that Death Bite's gonna go off, you cast it, they get the 1-cost minion, and then boom, it's dead. But not all 1-cost minions have only 1 health. I don't know.
No, that's correct. You've got your little 1-2 with taunt. You've got a ton of Murlocs.
And it's going to be random, so you could end up getting your Northshire Cleric in your Warlock deck, right? But but it's your opponent, not you. So that's
correct.
I'm staying far away from this dragon.
I like it a lot.
I
like
knew
it a
you
real
would.
lot.
I knew you
Really?
would.
Yes, I do. So I love this for Arena. First of all, I think this is a really, really cool card for Arena. I mean, it's a 4-drop. It's a 5/6. It's a big boy. Watch out. And in Constructed, I think it has some interesting uses. So imagine this, okay? Priest deck. You play the Hungry Dragon, and then the next card is Let Me Change Your Mind, Cabal Shadow Priest. So you take control of a minion with 2 attack or less. I haven't done, the number crunching, but I'm assuming that most 1-drops are 2 mana or less, 2 attack, 1 attack. Excuse me, 2 attack or less. So you might take control of that. Or maybe if you have a mind control tech, which takes control of a random minion, assuming that there is 4 enemy minions on the table, this adds to that. Maybe Unleash the Hounds, another minion that you can get a hound with. There's a lot of interesting uses with this card. I do think it's better for Arena right now, but I am looking forward to it.
I mean, you can get a Mana Worm. Mana Worm is a 1/3 creature, and it will, with every spell, get more and more powerful. That you're giving that to your opponent, mind you. Remember that.
I know.
That's the trick here. A Dust Devil is a 3/1 creature that has Wind Fury. The next turn, your opponent's going to hit you for 6.
Yeah,
unless
that's
you
pretty
can
strong.
kill it. So there is definitely Blood Imps have stealth. The Fire Imp is a 3/2. He deals 3 damage. The battle cry wouldn't go off. That I don't think that would happen. But you'd be giving your opponent a 3/2 creature. You could give them a Void Walker, which is a 1/3 with taunt. I mean, you can actually it could hurt you.
It can
turn
definitely
around.
go sour. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. It can be terrible, but that's the risk you play when you play the Hungry Dragon.
I don't think if you're looking to play it as casual, yes, play it. But if you're looking to actually be progressing, I think it's a little bit too risky to put in a ladder deck.
You could
Well,
you can make a breakfast deck.
It is
With-
pretty tough
Breakfast.
for low casting costs, which
'Cause
is
he's
why you're
hungry.
giving your opponent something. But I have a hard enough time trying to win with my skill, let alone my terrible luck. So, I'm probably in the minority of players when it comes to this card. It's powerful for the casting cost. That's why your opponent is getting something. It's just that I have miserable luck, and so I won't risk it. I won't tempt fate. But it's certainly an interesting card.
Okay, so we have the 6 mana, 6/4 Volcanic Drake. Cost 1 less for each minion that died this turn, and it's a dragon. This is pretty interesting. 6 mana for a 6/4 isn't all that great. It's got a lot of attack, not that much health, but if you have a lot of minions that died, he can come out for, sometimes free.
Think of this: if you have a bunch of wimpy creatures out there, and somebody does a Fan of Knives and kills them all, you can be playing him really fast.
Right, or a Flame Strike, kill all those enemy minions, and then if you have some mana left over, toss this guy out, or maybe, hey, he could even be free for that matter. It's pretty interesting what we will see with this card.
I think it's pretty
I think
decent.
he'd go really well in a Murloc deck.
Because they
'Cause
just die.
They'll be picking off the Murlocs.
Yeah, or a Zoo deck, or a Paladin Muster for Battle deck. Any of these decks that put out a whole bunch of little creatures that somebody's gonna Whirlwind or Fan of Knives away.
I think this could come out very quickly.
I can foresee people.
I would play it.
Yeah, yeah, I would probably play it too, in particular decks, but I can foresee people making mistakes like often with this card. Maybe they're not trading fully all the way to have minions die. Maybe they play this card and they're like, oh, I could have played it for so much less if I just killed this minion first. I can see that happening with this card, so you have to be careful. You have to be a little cerebral when you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also see it having synergy with Kel'Thuzad.
Ooh,
I would
Get
play
what
it
I'm
with
saying?
Well, here's
I
another
do.
one. You've got the 2 Nerubian eggs out, and you have the little guy appear in the middle that does the taunt. That gives them +1 and
Argent
taunt.
Defender.
Yes, Argent Defender. So you smack the Nerubian egg into two different creatures so that they die. They come back as 4/4s, and he comes out 2 mana less.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
lots of synergy
There's a lot
with
of
this
stuff you
card.
can do with him.
Yep, make some good tempo there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not, because it's new and because it's untried, I'm not sure how I actually feel about the mechanic of having a card dependent on the demise of your minions. But I think that worry, that little nagging at the back of my skull is going to turn out to be a nothing thing, that it's actually going to be a good card.
Yeah, think about it this way. How often do you really go 6 turns without losing a minion?
Yeah, but the point is you want the minions to die in a single turn to make this cheap.
Hmm.
It's not over the course of the game,
Yeah,
it's
but
over
even
the
if
course
it
of a
doesn't,
turn.
even if it doesn't, even if it takes 3 turns to come out, it comes out on the 3rd turn. I mean, still.
Right, but I think you're missing the point. The minions that died have to have died the same turn you cast this.
Oh, gee, look at that! Costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn.
I knew you weren't getting it.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
If you lose
The
one
light
minion a
bulb just
turn,
went on. Pop!
that does not help this guy.
Told you it's been a long day.
So what's cool about this
Okay.
card, Arena, for example, almost every turn you're trading minions. So
Did- Danish Raymond just gave me a failfish.
yeah, he meant Defender Vargas over Argent Defender.
Oh, okay.
We know what you meant though. That's the important part.
And I knew when I said it that I gave the wrong name, and I was just waiting for someone to correct me. It took a while.
There's no need. we all know what it is. It's that guy with the shield. It's Russian.
So go ahead, finish talking about this card.
Okay, just real quick, but I think in Arena, oftentimes we'll see this card cost 4 mana. You figure that on your turn, your minion will trade with whatever's on the board. Maybe one more minion will trade, and you'll play this card for 3 mana, 4 mana. So that's really good right there. On its own, it's not that awesome, but it has a lot of potential.
Yep, we are. I'm looking at the time, and we had just hit our hour, so we're going to continue with the rest of the cards, or more cards, next week. After, of course, much chatter about the release and the fun we've had. So, just to wrap things up, Honestbane or Micmac, do either of you have anything else you want to talk about?
Just can't wait for this expansion to come out.
I
Play
know.
this.
I know.
Gonna smile.
Yeah, I have some gold saved up, so I'll at least be able to buy the first wing. I've got, what do I have? 23.55 gold. So by the time all the wings are out, I will be able to get them without spending money. And that was my goal. But also, before I forget, I wanted to do a shout out to a listener, Crosley. He contacted me last night while I was playing Warcraft and had some very nice things to say about our show and you two. And I wanted to thank him for that. You know, when people try to contact me when I'm playing Hearthstone, it's hard to have a conversation. But at least in Warcraft, you could just stop working your garrison for a minute and chat. So thanks for the chat, Crosley, and the support.
Definitely, thank you. Thank you for everybody who has sent us emails recently and sent us emails that included decks for Micmac to play with, because we know that Micmac loves playing with people's decks.
Let
So-
I do.
You do.
Should we mention the decks being played in the chat room these days? Are
Yes,
those the ones you trialed, Micmac?
So I'm going to start doing that. So what I'll do is I'll test the deck and then I'll play it for the stream for everyone to see, exactly how I did. But tonight I actually just did a little bit of an arena run and just a couple casual games afterwards. That, or I could do a silly deck that Mr. Danish Raymond has suggested. So it all depends. It'll be something fun to watch that we have going on here during the show.
Mm-hmm. Poor Xander.
Well,
Okay, so
We get to see somebody play other than Xander for a change, so
right.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Xander and his rogue. So you can find us on Twitter or at A Worthy Opponent. You can listen to us live at Twitch TV at Holosuite Media. You can send us an email at awhearthstone@gmail.com. You can find us on iTunes. Shut up. You can find us on iTunes. We'll explain that later, maybe not. You can follow us on Facebook at AW Hearthstone, Stitcher Satellite Radio. You can find us on Google Plus at A Worthy Opponent. Special thanks to Holosuite Media for making this possible, and the ever-famous man behind the curtain, Xander. And thank you once again to the Awesome City Limits for the theme music that you allow us to play at the very beginning of our show that took first place at this year's BlizzCon. Thank you all for listening. As always, happy hearthing. I am Black Lace, and have a great week.
The end is coming.
So Argent and Argus have the same first few letters,
And they defend.
So a defender of Argus, if he's doing his job, is really an Argent defender,
That's a good point.
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of A Worthy Opponent, a production of Holosuite Media. Join us next week at Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to check holosuitemedia.com, iTunes, and Stitcher Satellite Radio for our remastered shows and more. You can follow us on Twitter at Worthy Opponent, or if you have any questions or comments, please send an email to awohearthstone@gmail.com. Welcome to our inn.